and it's lights out and away we go. It's Verstappen ahead of Norris, Perez ahead of Hamilton, and Perez closes off the threat of Hamilton, and into turn one we go.
It's going to be a fast, hot afternoon here in Ohio, but a great way to celebrate the 4th of July. It's an all-American front row. The pole sitter on your left in the white and yellow car is Joseph Newgarden, and they see green. Here we go in mid-Ohio.
Hello Indycar and Formula One fans. Welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Today is July 8th, 2021. Before I get into my review of the Indycar race at Mid-Ohio and the Austrian Grand Prix, it is with great sadness to announce the passing of former F1 racer from Santa Fe, Argentina, Carlos Reutemann, who died on July 7th from intestinal hemorrhage, anemia, and COVID-19 complications. He was only 79. But I also want to pause for a moment of silence for the people who have suffered in that condo collapse in Miami and the heat wave that has gripped the entire western United States and Canada, and how I feel bad and that there's nothing I can do but pray for them, and that the hardness for the heat wave is not over yet. Once again, my condolences to the people who lost loved ones in the condo collapse in Miami, to the droughts and heat waves that plague the western United States and Canada, to the people affected by the pandemic still, as well as the family of Carlos Alberto Reutemann. To all I say, vaya con Dios. Now, to give you some brief background on who Carlos Reutemann was, for those who don't know, he was the latest Argentinian driver to win in Formula One, and probably the second most successful behind Juan Manuel Fangio. Carlos Reutemann started his F1 career in 1972, retiring after the first two races in 1982. He started with Team Brabham in 72. His first win came in 1974 at the South African Grand Prix in Kyalami. One of his most successful seasons was 4 wins with Ferrari in 1978, winning in Brazil, Long Beach, Brands Hatch, and Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, despite the good performance he and his Ferrari teammate Gilles Villeneuve put on to finish second in manufacturers, it wasn't enough to keep up with the all-powerful ground effect Lotus 79s driven by Mario Andretti and Ronnie Peterson, who finished first and second in championship points, and Carlos third. But it was also the year we lost Ronnie, and he posthumously finished runner-up with Carlos distant third. Carlos would in fact then become teammates with Mario Andretti the following year at Lotus in 79. By 1980 he had moved to Williams, and among other things had won the Monaco Grand Prix, which is famous for the Irishman Derek Daly flying in the air at the start of Saint-Devote Corner on the first lap in the candy-sponsored Tyrrell Ford, landing right on his French teammate Jean-Pierre. Now, that's something that Daly had no luck of the Irish with. It's true, Derek's daily dream of becoming an F1 winner came crashing down right on his own teammate Jean-Pierre at that race. But there was no stopping Carlos Reutemann from taking his 10th career win in Formula One at the glamour streets of Monaco. 1981 would be the closest he'd get to being a championship contender. Unfortunately, he lost out on the championship by 1 point behind Brazil's Nelson Piquet. His final career win came that year at the Belgian Grand Prix at the Zolder circuit. Unfortunately, for the 12 Grands Prix that Carlos Reutemann obtained, he was never able to win on home soil in Argentina. He finished second there twice. Closest he got to winning on home soil was his next-door neighbor, Brazil, winning there 3 times in his career. Well, after he retired after the first 2 rounds of the 1982 season, hang up his helmet for good, he became a politician and senator and governor of the Santa Fe district of Argentina. And during the presidential elections of 2011, people considered him to be a candidate for president of Argentina, but he declined, it turns out.
Shut up!
I hope you liked these fun facts about Carlos Reutemann. Naturally, if you want to know more, that's what internet research is for. So once again, it is unfortunate that this time, unlike Evita Perón, Argentina is now crying, this time for Carlos Reutemann. Godspeed, Carlos. You will be missed. To get back to recent racing news, I forgot to mention in my last video, which I should have mentioned, was that the same weekend of the Styrian GP, which took place the last weekend of June, was that the World Rally Championship had returned to Kenya for the first time since 2002 for the Safari Rally. And for most, if not all of the drivers and teams, this was probably by far one of the most punishing races that they've ever endured. For their first time across that African savannah can only mean one thing. For those cars and the drivers taking quite a beating, not only was it quite punishing, but you could say they got the lion's share. If you're wondering who won the Safari Rally, it would be none other than Sébastien Ogier of France in a Toyota Yaris WRC car. He's the second most successful driver in World Rally Championship history, having won 7 titles throughout his career, and he's probably on course for his 8th. The winningest driver in World Rally history, if you're wondering, is his fellow countryman and former Citroën teammate, Sébastien Loeb, having won 9 times. Well, that's it for part 1 of this video. Part 2 will tell you the review story I've got to tell about the Austrian Grand Prix and the Indycar race at Mid-Ohio. But one more thing before I wrap up part 1 is saying that if there's any exciting open wheel racing you want to look into this weekend, tune in on CBS Sports Network for the Formula E rounds that'll take place in the streets of Brooklyn, New York. Oh, it'll be shocking, alright, to see those electric cars take on the streets of the Big Apple. Will it be Audi? Will it be Neo? Diaz Techeetah? Andretti BMW? Jaguar or someone else? Let's find out. Until then, get ready for part 2, which will be coming later today. And once again, my thoughts for Carlos Reutemann. Soy Aaron Cylinder, disparando a todos los cilindros.